Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And crash. You son
Oh,
of
God. Hold on. Pause.
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
They were targeting Wall Street when they should have been targeting Capitol Hill. They should have been targeting DC. This is the same thing, and this is what people keep missing.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
You bought GameStop at 400, didn't you? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That guy over there is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic. We made it our mission to help you own it. Fat Man Zoom, who do you got as a top five?
Starting five today is Sean Ethier, Mike Hudson. It's always been the starting five.
I know. I said top five.
Oh, no, I know what you meant. Sean Ethier, Mike Hudson, Rudy Brown, Sam Cisneros, and Arfin. Guys, we'll get Brad there one day. He's getting closer every day.
What's up, my man?
Oh, not much, man. It's been a wild week. It's
Monday.
Weekend. Past 7 days.
Yeah, it has been.
I literally died yesterday. I had family in town. I had Father's Day, birthday festivities. Yeah. I just needed to catch up on sleep.
I was exhausted too. It felt like last night we were both pretty tired.
Yeah.
Had that vibe.
Sunday night's hard anyways.
It is, but
Sundays are really hard. I think most of our Stock Watch Sundays are relatively lower key compared to our 3:30 p.m. live streams.
for sure. So speaking of the stock market, it is rocking and rolling today. I wasn't expecting it to happen this quickly, as we talked about last night. Was looking towards maybe more towards the middle of the week. But, man, the Dow is up over 500 points today. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, a lot of things are moving. I'm just looking at my positions because I haven't really looked at them today. But my Zoom snack didn't post, but it was Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean's doing well. Lululemon's up 5%, which was a pleasant surprise for sort of a big name like that.
Yeah.
I think the most promising was, for me, it wasn't a huge move, but just seeing Penn's come back this morning up like a little over 2%. That was really, I have a lot of optimism surrounding it, so that felt good.
Yeah, Penn right now I think is up over 3%. It was up over 3%. It's at 76, but sitting at 2.9% up on the day. One of the watch lists stocks went off today, and that was Wish. If you guys were a part of the Chaos Crew, or at least signed up for the watch list, we put out Wish in the middle of the week last week at under $11 a share, and now it's up over 20% today, close to $15. So pretty nice move on Wish. Lots of people buying really cheap lingerie and all kinds of other weird sex toys.
What was your thesis on Wish?
There was a couple of things. It's caught the eyes of the Wall Street Bets crowd, so I took I don't want to say YOLO, but so I took a starter on it, and it went off without me. I actually ended up adding to it today on a small pullback.
Wait, I thought you were in it already.
Yeah, I am. So
I thought you were in it before.
Yeah, I took a starter on Thursday, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
Thursday, I took a starter on it at 11:09, and then I added to it today on a small pullback.
Oh, so it didn't run without you.
No, it's just I wanted to get a full position, I guess, is what I meant.
I got you.
And so then that took off, went really well today. It's actually pulling back a little bit at 13.53. So yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, and so for me, I'm like pretty much break even on the day because I have some stocks like Clover Drive Shack that are down, but then I have some other ones that I mentioned that are up. It's kind of a break even day for me. But what did not do well is crypto, and we talked about it on Stock Watch Sunday as well. Crypto hasn't had a good few weeks.
Yeah.
And it seems to keep with the downtrend.
Yeah, today, I mean, we talked about it last night, and it was already down last night, and it's just continuing to fall down further. Looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're both down pretty significantly. Ethereum's down almost 11%, and Bitcoin's down 6.5% at 32,000. We talked about this last night about Ethereum potentially coming down to as low as 18, and if it breaks below that, it could get ugly. You had mentioned about the 25th being a significant time for Ethereum too. Man, it's not looking great for them.
Yeah. So on Friday, there's 1.5 billion in options expiring. And so this happened, I believe, on March 26th, and it caused the stock to drop. It was like almost 20% over the course of 5 days. We'll see what happens here. And it had went down to like 1,500. So this could do the 1,800. It could retest that 1,500. I mean, looks like Bitcoin might break below 30. Looks like, Ethereum is below 2K. Man, it's going to be tough sledding, because not only is this Friday D-Day coming, but overall sentiment towards crypto has been non-existent.
Yeah.
So it sucks for Ethereum, because I think this is going to probably continue.
Do you think that the correlation between money kind of coming back into the quote unquote meme stocks and crypto, do you think there's any correlation to that, or is money leaving crypto to go chase some of the AMC type stocks?
I mean, there's no way to tell, but you got to believe that the same people that are going to buy crypto are going to buy meme stocks, because there are people who genuinely believe in crypto, but I would say the overwhelming majority of people, at least that I've heard, are just trying to get that quick run. There's like big dollar signs seeing the move on crypto. So it wasn't that they're like hella bullish on the model. I would venture to say a lot of them couldn't even tell you the benefits of crypto. Yeah. Right? I think all you would hear is like, it's a store of value. That's probably the extent of what you would hear.
Yep.
And so that's not a good enough case. So if that is true, then the meme stocks is the same type of person, and the meme stocks have shown that their volatility is even more incredible and has higher upside. Yeah. And so, it could be the same money.
I mean, I would venture to say that the same demographic of people own crypto. I would say the large majority of the demographic of people that own crypto are also in the meme type stocks. I think that's probably.
People are looking to get a quick buck. Yeah. I mean, that's just a reality. The difference with crypto versus meme is the institutions are adopting it. So right. The question that has to be asked, and I'm asking myself, is like, what does it look like for crypto in the long term? And I still feel really good on it. So for me, that's looking like an opportunity to buy. It's just a matter of when, not if, because I believe in Ethereum. And not going to lie, I'm becoming more compelled to consider adding to pick up more dollar cost averaging in Bitcoin, because I stopped. Yeah. I mean, I have a very minuscule amount of Bitcoin. So that thought's crossed my mind. But for now, I'm going to look to be adding to Ethereum for sure, but I'm not going to wait. I'm going to wait till next week. I'm not going to do anything this week.
Over 50% Bitcoin has dropped since April, so about 3 months, give or take. April 14th, I think, was what the high was for Bitcoin, and it has come down quite significantly along with Ethereum. Be interesting to see where this moves. I think we could potentially see a move after this expiry date. Yeah, it could be wrong, but once we get past that, it almost kind of felt like this quad witching BS. Literally the day after, everything kind of bounces, and I think it seems as if this is kind of being treated in the same fashion. Yeah, I would say so, and you can see Ethereum's had more volatility than Bitcoin traditionally, or at least over the past year, where it moves lower and it also moves higher in comparison to Bitcoin. Yeah, absolutely. So this isn't a surprise here. No, I don't think so. Not at all. Damn, but if Bitcoin came below 30, what is Pomp saying? I haven't looked at any of his tweets. He's been awfully quiet. Yeah. Yeah. Every time it goes up, he talks. For every $1,000 per Bitcoin that it went up, it was like, he'd have to make an announcement about it, and now it's like been radio. I won't say radio silence, but he's been a lot quieter than he has been. Yeah. I gotta like people like him. You talked about it, I think, in level 3 this morning. Would you say 90% of his investments are in Bitcoin? 90% of his assets, are in Bitcoin, yeah. Damn. That's balls deep in Bitcoin. I mean, he mined a lot of it too. Like back in the day, like before mining really became very popular and kind of had a spotlight on it. He was really big into it then. So, you know, the money he spent on it, I guess, was just an energy to collect it. But I mean, still, like, it's pretty wild to think. And I was talking about this this morning too, and with our Chaos crew and our morning stream, was that, you know, it's mind blowing to me because there are Bitcoin holders out there that were worth hundreds of millions of dollars back in April, and now that's been cut in half. And some people were making comments as like, you know, it must be what a problem to have. But at the same time, that's still a ton. I mean, even if it was like 100K and you just lost 50K in 3 months, like that sucks. I mean, that hurts.
It does.
So I mean, I don't know what I would do if I had millions wrapped up into this and all of a sudden it just got cut in half.
Well, and that's where the gambler's mentality comes into play, because this is just like if you're at the casino, you get to a point where you're like, man, I'm up to, let's just say I'm at $100 million, right?
Yeah.
And, well, let me use a more apt example. Let's say you're at $10,000.
Yeah.
And you maybe started with 1,000. So you're up 9K.
Right.
You're up to 10. All of a sudden you lose half of it and you're at 5. You don't think, oh man, I'm up 4K. You think, damn, I'm 5K off where I was.
Yeah.
And what you start thinking is, I can get back there. And you start doubling down. And then all it does is lose your money faster. And you're seeing this almost play out, where rather than look at it and say, okay, I'm still up. And I'm guilty of this as well. I mean, I look at Clover. I'm still up considerably on my free shares of Clover, but it's like, man, what it was. Like, think about what it was. And you just can't do that, because then you're going to want to try to double down. You're going to want to try to add to. And I'm not saying there isn't a time and a place, because there is. But if it's just off emotions trying to catch up to where you were, you might be in for a rough ride. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, Sean had just mentioned you shouldn't have that much in crypto if you don't believe in it anyway. I agree, but it's still got to be painful to watch.
Well, and there's a difference between believing in it and hedging in it. Just because you believe in something, I believe wholeheartedly in Clover, but you're not seeing me put 100% or 90% of my account in it.
Right.
That's just irresponsible.
Yeah.
And so there's too many things that you can't control. Could you have predicted this whole crypto or the China crypto mining crackdown?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's coming at the same time as we talk about the meme stocks. So it's really hard to determine what is it due to, on top of, could you have predicted Tesla pulling it? All these things, it's hard to predict. So it doesn't matter how much you believe in something. You still have to, I mean, it does matter to a certain extent, but like, even if you have 100% conviction, you can't go, like, you can do whatever you want. I would never go all in.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I would love to go all in on Penn right now with all of the money that I have because of the conviction I have, I still have to be smart about it. Same thing with my Airbnb and my Spirit Air systems.
Yeah.
Like the strong.
You have to have a strategy.
Exactly. And so, just 90% just sounds really crazy to me. I mean, I'm not saying Bitcoin goes to zero, but what if it just comes all the way back down to 20?
20 is very realistic.
10, you know, like I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
4 figures.
If 90% of my wealth was wrapped up into one asset like that, that would just be mind blowing.
I mean, I guess you think you could, if you really believed in it over the long term, you can keep dumping into it. The problem that I've always had with crypto, and hopefully if we can get our buddy Andy on to, actually I say our buddy, we've talked to him 2 times. we get our
acquaintance Andy on. Double A.
You know, like, Bitcoin could theoretically be gone, and I'm not saying that because I think Bitcoin's going to continue to stay around.
Yeah.
But there's nothing backing it. There's nothing supporting it. Just a belief set of people saying, we deem this valuable, thus it has value.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like, that's hard. It's not a company that's like, well, it has revenue, it has this, it has that. No, we determine that we're going to create value for this.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, I think it's just perception of people. You look at I mean, I don't know, like a Louis Vuitton bag. What makes a Louis Vuitton bag worth that much? I'm not saying that it's not high quality and that it's not good build quality or anything like, but like, what makes a Louis Vuitton bag hundreds of thousands, in certain cases, thousands of dollars? It's the scarcity model, and sometimes it works, but I think in this case, it seems as if it's still trying to figure itself out.
Yeah, but I get that, but you also have something
Like, yeah, something tangible. Correct. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you have luggage that and it's functional and people see it.
Yep.
Like you could tell me all day you have it in a wallet, but you can't hand me a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
right. That's always been my argument. It was just you can't hold it in your hand. It's like I know the dollar. Everybody makes the argument the dollar's losing 2% every year, but you know, you can at least hold it in your hand. You can hold gold in your hand, physical gold, which is why people invest in that.
You can take it and leave.
Yeah.
You can take your money and leave.
Right.
And barter it. Where it's like, I want to be clear, we're not poo-pooing Bitcoin. Like
No.
this is not what's happening right now. And we're not saying that we're not interested in it because like I said, I would like to get into it. But these are conversations that people have, and this is the reluctance behind some people that are a little bit more traditional and conservative in the market.
Absolutely.
But if I'm institutions, now it looks like a really good time.
Sure does. To load up. Yeah.
So we'll see if institutions starts jumping in, and that should allow it to move back up.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving on. Amazon had Prime Day starting today.
Yeah.
And that should bode really well for them. There's actually consideration of having another one in the fall. Did you hear about this?
No.
Yeah, so there's consideration of having Prime Day again in the fall because it was such a success last year. Last year it got moved because of COVID.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, maybe we'll try it again. And I think it was actually it could be smart on their end. They get the people before Black Friday shows up. And so it's kind of like one of those things where, I don't know, it may be advantageous for them to do it then too. The thing of it is, and I was just looking on there today, the Prime sales, it's usually like shit stuff like that I'm not even really all that interested in.
I almost bought 2 of their speakers.
Okay.
Which they had a pretty good deal on. It was like, so they have the regular speakers.
Yeah.
And then it's like a hub speaker that you use for your home. So the hub's more expensive. But I want to say it was a really good deal. I think for 2 of them, which hubs can act like regular speakers.
Yeah.
If you upgraded to 2, it was like, I want to say it was like $119 when they normally run. It's like 200 something. I don't know. It was a really good deal. Here's what I'll say about Amazon. It's kind of to your point. One, I don't feel like there's as much hype to this Prime Day as there was. Definitely not last fall.
Right.
And in years past, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of hype.
No.
Do you feel that way?
No, I don't at all.
And so, or you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah,
so
for sure.
like that was one thing. I don't even think they do a very good job of executing their Prime Day, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Right? Like I do that a lot. I go, right, like you have a great opportunity and you think about Black Friday and you have an opportunity to just to take over Black Friday and create something totally new, which is what they have done. But when you think about Black Friday, companies typically do a really good job about doing promotions, teasers, having a couple things that are big teaser promotions.
Yeah.
I almost feel like Amazon is feeling itself and it's just like, yeah, we'll just do Prime Day and people are going to have sales, or people are going to just come pouring in. We'll see the numbers. I could totally be wrong, and I'm sure they're going to crush it. But adding a fall one, doing 2 a year now, I'm already a little bit like, is it as lucrative as it seems, or is this like the beginning of a decline of their Prime Day?
I think for me, like what's motivating me to just buy a bunch of stuff?
Yeah.
The first day of summer. Like if I'm a spender, like if I saved up a bunch of money and I've been cooped up in my house, what am I going to do? I have to believe that I'm not the minority here, that I'm going to use
the minority here.
All of the that was pretty good. All of the money that I have saved up to go do stuff, traveling, going out to eat, all that stuff. I think that's where most of the money is going to be spent, and it's not necessarily buying stuff that's on good, that's on discount or whatever. I'm not really thinking about that right now, and I definitely will be thinking about it closer to like the holidays and that sort of thing. That to me probably seems as if it would be more advantageous for them to move Prime Day towards the fall. Whereas right now, I just don't think that shopping and buying things is really on the top of people's minds, unless it's like clothes or stuff. We've seen like retail clothes, that sort of thing. But I just don't know if that's necessarily as high of high demand as something like travel is right now.
I think to me, I feel like they're thinking of this too simplistically. So the thing about Amazon is they're in such a dominant position. We talked about it on Stockwatch Sunday. In 2021, it's projected that of all the e-commerce sales, Amazon's gonna have 41% of that market share.
Yeah.
So they're in dominant position. Walmart being second at 7%.
Yep.
When you're in lead position, it's hard to be motivated to continue to innovate and make moves. Like you almost can just do whatever you want and it'll be successful.
Unless you're Apple.
And so, yeah. But one would argue, what have they pushed the envelope on? Like
Apple? Yeah, that's true. I mean, they do take a while.
Change some things, but like what, they're still banking on the phone. That's a Steve Jobs thing.
Yeah, and I would argue too that when they are slow to innovate, I guess.
Yeah.
You see like Android and some of the other ones, they like try to push the envelope as fast as they can and get new technology out there as fast as they can. Whereas I guess Amazon or Apple's a little bit more methodical. So.
Well, and Apple, to their credit, they want to do it right, and so they'll wait.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's like you look at Amazon in the lead position. It's just really hard to just push the envelope, or take chances. But if I'm Andy Jassy and I'm looking at Amazon and what we could do with Prime Day and what our opportunities are, the whole discount model for a day or two, that's cool.
Yeah.
But like, what's the benefit of Prime, right? Prime isn't about being cheap. Prime's about being quick, free shipping, and you get that quickly.
Yeah.
So I guess it could encourage people over 2 days to potentially sign up for Prime, but ultimately you want not the e-commerce sales, you want people to sign up for Prime so you get that revenue, which is high margin.
Yes.
And you get people continuing to buy throughout the year. So one I would consider is not doing it for 2 days, but doing it for a month and not really focusing it around selling products at discount, but maybe incentivizing the sellers like your content. You have this huge content opportunity.
I was just about to say that, yes.
HBO Max and Disney, they come out with this original content. Take some of your original content, offer it for anybody who signs up to Prime. Those are the ideas you can come up with to ultimately get people to flow in. But Prime Day, to me, isn't really getting people to flow in as new Prime customers. It's just getting existing customers to spend more money, which I don't think is the objective.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I mean, they have Twitch. I don't think they leverage it enough.
Yeah.
Same thing. I mean, and if you're a Prime member, you get benefits to Twitch too, but I don't think
nobody realizes.
Yeah, and they don't push it as much. And maybe it's in the works. Maybe we can see this come football season. We know that they're going to be benefiting from that as well. So perhaps that's in the works. But I agree, man. I think trying to incentivize people by buying stuff on discount doesn't necessarily, I think. Do it for people anymore. Yeah. I think it's the experience, feeling like you're a part of something. I think it's probably going to motivate them to want to be a Prime member more than anything else.
I think that I don't want to insult Amazon, but I think they could learn a lot and avoid a lot of the mistakes that Under Armour made with their previous CEO, founder, Kevin Plank.
Yeah.
They tried to do everything, and he didn't even do it under the Under Armour umbrella. He just created all these business opportunities, and their current CEO is trying to unravel that. And it kind of feels that way when you look at Twitch. When you even look at Prime Video, when you look at all their services that they're adding, they're doing all these other ancillary things. They have AWS and things for the business. But when you look at it pertains to Prime, what if Amazon only did Prime? What would that product look like?
Yeah.
And I feel like they're almost stretched in too many directions where it's like, we can focus on Prime, but what's the point? We have this AWS, and that's where they might get in trouble, and that's where Under Armour got in trouble. They tried to compete with Nike, and they started throwing money at schools, money at everything.
Yeah.
Kevin Plank, the owner, bought a farm, and when it started doing horse racing, bought a whiskey company, bought an incubator, did all these things, and ultimately built a hotel that's beautiful in the middle of Baltimore City. But what ultimately happened was they ended up hurting all of the businesses, and nobody succeeded, and they all suffered.
We have AWS, but let's fly into space. Let's give that a shot.
Yeah.
The other thing that I will say that I do think was a smart move was the prescription side of their business. I think that's going to be...
Well, that's my point.
That's going to blow up.
Can they give it the attention it deserves? Because that could blow up.
That's true.
You talk about the model with they're trying to get their clothing a little bit more desirable, and so they have their online shopping experience much like Stitch Fix.
Yeah.
You don't hear that talked about.
Right.
I looked at their page and it's like down in the middle in a little box. You wouldn't even know what it was if you weren't looking for it.
Yeah.
And so this great idea is like, who better to make sense to compete with Stitch Fix than Amazon?
Yeah.
But if you're buying companies and doing that or creating that experience and not investing any money, you're wasting valuable resources. And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge with them moving forward. You're establishing yourself as a cost leader using cost leadership strategy, which is not a great strategy in the first place because you're discounting things,
Yeah.
right? So for those of you who don't know, a cost leadership strategy means that you're competing with people based on cost, where I bet that if I make it cheaper, that I'm going to be able to push out my competitors because they're not going to be able to lower the prices because I have better efficiencies. Walmart is the poster child for that example.
Yeah.
Well, at some point, you just eat into your margin so much that's not great for a publicly traded company because margins are really important, EBITDA is really important, and net income is really important. And so those things I worry about because you're buying a bunch of shit, your labor is going to go through the roof, and your costs associated with it are going to continue to eat into your margins. So listen, I love Amazon. It's still one of my Fat Man Zoom stocks, but I really care about what Andy Jassy does moving forward and where his focus is live, because what makes Amazon is AWS. Let's not forget.
Yes.
Like that's what it's about.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And just looking at the chart, I do want to point out the cup and handle is is starting to shape up really nicely here on the chart. We have on the daily chart, you can see, lots of times when you see this cup and handle formation, if it gets rejected there on the first day at the 3,500 at its resistance, you're going to see some consolidation. So there is still the possibility of this thing really starting to make a move if we get up above that 3,500 mark. So this looks great. It looks like a textbook cup and handle pattern on the daily. Still looks good. We love Amazon. Again, not trying to poo-poo on anything as far as Amazon's concerned, but we always try to give you the bull and bear cases, and poking holes and stuff like this is kind of what we do, even though sometimes it can be controversial.
Yeah, for sure. And Amazon, we talk about FANG coming back and the market coming back in interest in the market. Apple's making a good comeback, but we're looking at, one of the most valuable companies, and those top dogs, they're going to lead the way for overall sentiment in the market. And so Amazon, listen, there's still a lot to be written with Amazon, and I feel really good about the company. I think the stock is undervalued. But man, that statistic was interesting. They have 40%, projected to have 40% of market share.
It's wild.
And second place is 7%. Target's in fourth place with 2%. Like,
that's crazy.
How much more can you get? eBay's a sleeper. eBay was a sleeper at number 3.
When will Amazon become a value stock?
I know.
Right?
I know, for sure.
All right. So before we get into the next topic, which I'm kind of excited for, and you guys are going to love this too, Fat Man Zoom, why don't you invite him over to the watch list?
Yeah, guys. So if you are interested in the stocks we talk about on this channel, we send out a daily watch list with 5 stocks that we're looking at for that day right before the market opens. We do that every day pre-market. If you guys are interested, go to the description, click on the Get the Free Watch List. We'll send that out to you in the morning.
All right. So I did see a comment here. Says Roger was going to get into a firm, but their options chain is thin. So yeah, a firm's still going to do well. You can always just buy shares if you wanted to. I don't think that you can go wrong there, especially with where it's priced. I did want to say something just to touch on the Amazon thing. I got an email from a firm about Amazon Prime Day, being able to buy stuff and pay later. So
that's cool.
they're doing their thing, and Walmart too. I got one on Walmart as well. So a firm's it's just a matter of time. I think it's just going to be one of those things you just have to own, especially all the way down here. All right, so getting on to our next topic, guys. There are no earnings today, so we're just kind of
spitballing.
Yeah, spitballing is a good word for it. I love that Amazon conversation. I was not expecting it to go that way, but I loved it. So I had actually pointed out a article to you this morning, and I thought that was really interesting. And Investopedia put out a article on Father's Day of all days, but it pertained to financial advisors. And I'm curious to get some of your thoughts too on just the financial advisor and where it could be headed. But Investopedia put out 4 signs it's time to fire your financial advisor, and it really was interesting because we're on a channel that involves investing, and we kind of take matters into our own hands. But sometimes maybe you're out there and you like to take matters into your own hands to a certain extent, but you still have a financial advisor on the side. And one of the first thing was your financial advisor ignores you. And so basically they had mentioned the cornerstone of any relationship is communication. Without it, it's easy for things to become miscommunicated, for anger to brew, culminating distrust, and poor communication can quickly sour a relationship as well with your financial advisor and anybody else. But I thought that certainly is one key proponent of making sure that you got a good financial advisor is that open line of communication.
Yeah, why don't you just shout out the 4 just titles that they say?
Okay, so I didn't know which way we wanted to take this, but so there was communication, a financial advisor that talks at you, not with you.
Yeah.
And then too much jargon and not enough information, which I feel like sometimes we're guilty of, but that's okay. And then investments are too expensive was the 4th one. And meaning that wasn't really necessarily like, Amazon's too expensive. It was more directed towards
like
fees,
ratio?
fees and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great article. And this is one I want to be careful with because I don't want to border the line of advice, but I just here's my philosophy and what I think. But I want to start with some analogies. So you look at sports.
Yeah.
And look at athletes, and it's well documented, especially in football.
Yeah.
That people that run finances are just innately trusted, but overwhelmingly fall short, especially in that. Like you think about all the successful athletes that had financial advisors that were going to take care of them, and somehow they ended up broke.
Yeah.
And on extremes cases, sometimes they stole money. And I just want for people to remember that when I used to run my business, or really with my clients that I deal with, because I have a coaching business and I work with CEOs and entrepreneurs, one of the things I talk about is delegation and responsibility. And a lot of owners try to do everything, jack of all trades. And I really try to steer clients away from that, owners away from that. With one exception, I always tell them, you need to have at least a basic understanding of financial management.
Yeah.
You need to be able to sit in the room and talk to your accountant, your tax strategist, whoever your financial advisor is, and you need to be able to hold your own. You don't have to do it. If you want to, great, but that's the only area where I say you need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Same with your personal life. You can delegate whatever you want in your life. You can have people doing other things, but your financial health, at least my financial health, I want to be in charge of that.
Yep.
Now, I take control of it, but at the very least, when I talk to my friends and family, it's like, what do you know about your finances? There's just this blind trust.
Yeah.
Like if I say, what investment vehicles are you in? No one knows. What is it leveraged in? What's your risk profile? Things like that. What are your expense ratios? And the one thing that frustrates me about these investment advisors is, one, they're almost like used car salesmen, and there's great ones out there.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of them that ruin it for everybody else, where they're trying to sell you shit you don't need.
Yeah.
I have 2 friends that are financial advisors.
I was going to say, shout out, Mike Cam. Shout out.
and I run things by them, but ultimately I push the button.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's foolish to not have people in your corner that you trust, but you need to push the button. And so that's just my confidence level. I also choose to invest the time in it. But even if it's just mutual funds or ETFs, you can still do it on your own and have diversification. So I just have very strong feelings about it. And I think that we often sell ourselves short in what we can learn and what we can do, especially in the financial field. I want to be responsible for the risk I take.
I couldn't agree more. I think when I look back at my own financial background, working for the financial firm that I worked for, there were definitely people that had their Series 7s, all of a laundry list of qualifications, and they didn't know shit, and they actually didn't care about the people that they were serving. I mean, I think that I just naturally care about the people that I'm serving. So it just comes as I don't. It's like breathing.
Yeah.
But it does take work for certain people, and you just have to be able to identify, who's actually in charge of your money, and do they actually know what they're talking about? Just because they have letters and numbers behind their name doesn't necessarily mean that they know exactly what they should be doing for you. And it's not always black and white either. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people, my coworkers, that would just literally read off of a sheet what they should be doing. It's like an if or then situation, but it's not always that easy. And so I agree. Like, it's just one of those things where you have to at least do some homework on your own. Because the other thing is too, is that we don't get taught this stuff in high school or even, we kind of do in college, but we have to look for it. And it's just one of those things that you have to just take matters into your own hands. Hopefully we at least provide some sort of, I don't want to say, and like I said, we want to be careful, but not advice, but at least guidance from our own personal experiences that you can at least draw from. And that's kind of the whole purpose of the channel.
Yeah, our channel is about active investors and people that want to be in control of that.
Yeah.
And whether you are managing your account or not, you need to be able to challenge your investment advisor. You need to be
ask
your
questions.
financial advisor. And understanding why they're doing what they're doing. And you need to guide that ship.
Yeah.
And say, okay, what are you in? Why are we in this?
Yeah.
How are we doing? What's the plan? And like, the more you can be involved in that discussion, the more you'll feel confident in it. But, you know, our goal is to be a resource for people who are trying to become active investors and to give them confidence and belief in themselves that they can be just as successful, if not more successful than those people, because it's still a human being on the other end of that. And a human being has a belief system. They have their own risk tolerance. They have their own nature about them. And so even if they're trying to be indifferent, it's still going to fall back on who they're on as a person. So like, it's going to be hard for them to separate themselves in it.
Yeah.
And if they're conservative and you are not conservative and you take high risk, you don't want somebody in your ear being like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I'm not saying you need a yes man, but somebody that questions you every step of the way, that's not fun either. And so, you know, my philosophy has always been, I'd rather bet on myself than anybody else. And if that ends in, you know, extreme pain and suffering, then that's fine. But I get, what's the word? I get satisfaction out of knowing that I put the work in and I made the decisions, and it's just got to outperform the S&P at the end of the day. That's all I have to do.
I think there's also something to be said for having a financial advisor that does challenge you too.
Yes, for sure.
Because there's, you know, you could be making some crazy decisions, and we see it every day on this channel. Just check out the comment section. But I think there's definitely something to be. So if you have a financial advisor that is just a yes man, and you know, just doesn't ask you any questions and does everything that you say without any kind of pushback, that's also a red flag, I would feel too.
It is, and I think the difference is a financial advisor should not be telling you this is what you should do or not do, or disagree or agree.
Yeah.
They should do essentially what we try to do on our channel, which
give
is
you every angle.
Like, ensure that you've done your due diligence.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're like, hey, I want to invest in GameStop, they shouldn't say, no, you shouldn't invest in GameStop. They should ask why.
Yeah.
All right. Why? Okay. And if you don't have a strong argument, they should challenge your argument. All right. Have you thought about this? Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? And so that's really what they should feel, like a partner, not a boss.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I just thought that was an interesting article. Let us know what you guys think about that too in the comments. I see a couple of them, and we'll get to that in just a second. But before we do that, if you guys could give us a thumbs up, we certainly would appreciate it. We got 121 of you guys in here and 21 likes. So if we could get that up, let's just double it. Let's try to get the 42. Can we get the 42 likes today during the stream? If you guys are enjoying the show so far, let us know by hitting the thumbs up.
I do want to point out another thing. Some of these brokerages have great support systems.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, TD Ameritrade has been huge for me. I talk a lot about my solo 401k.
Yeah.
I found out that through a customer service agent at TD Ameritrade, because he was like giving me my investment vehicle options. He's like, have you looked into this? Now, I did my research after the fact, but TD Ameritrade, I've gone to them numerous times being like, what's out there?
Yeah.
What are the opportunities? That serves the same purpose as a financial advisor would, and they get nothing.
Right.
You know, obviously they get my business, but that customer service agent, like, they have specialists. And when I have questions about, you know, I had a question about my business, like SEP IRAs, I can call them.
Yeah.
And so don't underestimate the resources you have that are free with your broker that you use. I mean, there's a lot of resources out there. Just calling them. Sometimes I just check in on them. because of that one time, I'm like, maybe they know something I don't know. Maybe something's changed.
Things change, right? Yeah. I love that. I love that. You know what I was just thinking too? I bet you Mike would be a good person to talk to on here too. Just kind of give we have our buddy who's a financial advisor, and just kind of giving the regulated world versus the not regulated world. I think that would be a good combo to have one day. But yeah, some really good comments here. I saw one from Sean. What did he say? I took over my accounts last summer for many of these reasons. He said expensive fees, pushback when requesting moves, and then arguments that they made 3% a year while others lost 2% wasn't good enough. Yeah, that's pretty. Those are pretty sad excuses, I would say, or poor reasons to not make those decisions. But so yeah, good for you, Sean. I know that you've been crushing it, bro. And sometimes it might be, more advantageous to have a financial advisor, especially if you just know that about yourself, that you just don't make good decisions, or if you don't have the time or whatever. But for those of you who want to take it on yourself, by all means, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You could even do some of your money yourself, and then another, pocket of your money that gets just managed by somebody else. But yeah, man,
that's probably the most common strategy I see.
Yeah.
And it's good. It helps you learn. I work with some family members I talked to you about, just they really want to learn about the market, and they still have their managed portfolios.
Yeah.
And they have a little bit of side money that they're using, and usually it's like a Roth IRA or just a regular cash account. But they do it for fun, but it helps them with the other account because it gives them that education. And I also want to impress, when I started, it wasn't about making money. It was about, if I broke even, I was happy. It's paying to the market.
Yeah.
And so when you are able to challenge the philosophies of whoever it is that's managing your money, there's a self-confidence in that as well. To learn a new skill, to learn something, put the time, effort, and sweat into it. You can't put a value on that either.
Actually, it's funny. I just relate that to everything. There's something to be said for working on your own shit.
Yeah.
And if you're that kind of person, then this definitely could be a route that you end up going. Did a lift kit, that sort of thing over the weekend, and I have to show it to you. It's actually looks pretty badass. But I did it myself, and it was just, I could have paid somebody to do it, but I just wanted to take pride in my own work.
Absolutely, man. So let us know what you guys think. If you want to put in the comments, what's your experience with financial advisors? Did you dump yours? Do you still use them? There's always a place for it, but it'd be good to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to hear what the dynamic is, especially from an education standpoint too.
Yeah. And I won't get into that. I'll just say what's up to Daniel Camarena. What's up, my man?
We put out a clip in your honor today, so go check that out, Daniel.
Kevin Huerta Ponce, even though I may not agree with everything you guys say, I'm still think we have y'all. You guys are the reason I still have my car.
Well, I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, you got it, man. And that's another thing is
you shouldn't agree with everything we have to say.
Yeah, it's just another resource where we're all kind of doing this together. Think of it as happy hour. We're all hanging out. We're like, what are you getting into? What are you getting into? Why?
Yeah.
And then understanding people's case. A lot of people bring stocks to me, and I want to know their why. Sometimes I end up looking at them, and especially people in our Discord community that bring stocks, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And there are so many stocks, you can't monitor all of them. So having a community is really good. Yeah,
absolutely. And just being able to bounce ideas off of other people. Yeah. I mean, even if they're crazy, you at least get to rule that one out or what have you. I see that Daniel Camarena says he's going to have a watch party at the warehouse for Thursday. You can bet your ass we're going to be here and we're going to have a watch party for that.
Hell yeah. I just want to say as a side note, since I brought it up, if you own your own business, immediately look at a solo 401k. Anybody else, if you're under the income limits, which for a Roth IRA, if you don't have a Roth IRA, you need a Roth IRA.
If you don't have one,
if you don't have a Roth IRA, I would encourage anyone to look into a Roth IRA. I don't think that falls into the financial advice.
No,
you're saying you should get a Roth IRA, use a tax vehicle, but don't those two things. are just easy to look into and
Yeah.
to at least begin somewhere, because they're great opportunities that a lot of people don't leverage as much as they should.
Yeah.
Anything, start with anything. But if you're eligible for a Roth IRA and you're trading with a cash account, don't make no damn sense.
Right.
It doesn't. And maybe at another time we can discuss that. But you do the research now. If we talk about it in the future, cool. If you guys are interested in learning more, let us know. But Roth IRAs, you can trade with them, and it's a better position than doing a taxable cash account.
The one you trade with is a Roth, right?
I trade with my Roth and I trade with my 401k, solo 401k.
Yeah, solo. That solo one is kind of like your main one, right? Your bigger one.
Yeah, that's my bigger one. My Roth is my Fat Man Zoom, so it's my investing.
Gotcha.
And so, $5,500 will go in, or well, now it's $6,000 a year.
Yeah.
So because I have my own business and I'm my only employee, I can do a solo 401k, and then I could also do the Roth because I'm still under the income limits for salary.
Right.
Roth IRA is King J season. Yes, sir.
Man, what a show! I mean, we didn't have a whole lot of people hanging out. Wasn't expecting to knock anybody's socks off, but I don't know about you. I had a great time. I thought that we got into some really cool topics.
Yeah, for sure.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up as well. But I think that's going to do it for me, bro.
Yeah, I'm good. Guys, if you want to join the Chaos Crew and be a part of that community we talked about on Discord, click the join button next to the comment section, next to subscribe. You also get access to Brad's public portfolio, alerts, and all sorts of goodies. So make sure you click join.
That's going to do it for us, guys. We'll be back here at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. I believe we do have some earnings to watch. Plug Power is one of them. I'm sure a lot of you guys will be interested in that one. And who knows? The stock market can do so many crazy things, but we will be here to give you our thoughts, opinions on all of that stuff. So make sure you're tuning in tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. Hit that notification bell, folks. That'll do it. Have a great Monday. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.